Yep, it's time to review the most infamous episode of Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Okay, let's get this out of the way. Now, Foster's Home is a really good show, and in fact, it's one of the best Cartoon Network shows of all time. This is one of the shows I started binge watching. I first saw it in 2020 during the quarantine, and I enjoyed it. I watched more episodes, and let's just say I was hooked on the show, and it immediately became one of my favorite cartoons of all time, and it still is. But like other good shows like SpongeBob and Ed and Eddie, it has its duds, and when Foster's gets bad, it gets really bad, and probably if you're gonna like say what is the worst episode of Foster's, it's definitely a lot of people will say it's Everyone Knows It's Bendy, and I don't blame them. This episode is terrible, but like I said, this episode is terrible, but I wouldn't say it's the worst episode of Foster's, and I'll get to that. First things first, let's discuss the other episodes. Let's discuss this episode. This episode starts off with Bendy, a new imaginary friend that was dropped off to Foster's. And apparently Bendy's a troublemaker. He goes to where Blue and his friends are. They're playing video games and breaks a vase. And he goes and gets Frankie and Mr. Harriman, which they want to know why the vase is broken. They all blame Bendy, and then Bendy makes up some fake story, makes some fake sad story, and all of a sudden Frankie and Mr. Harriman believe him and scold the other imaginary friends. The fact that they believe Bendy over Will out of all characters, they believe Bendy over Will, all because of one simple sad story, and he's crying. Look, people who cry after they do bad stuff aren't sympathetic. Doesn't make me feel any sympathy for them, because they clearly know what they did. And the fact that Frankie and Mr. Harriman believe Bendy over Will, whose personality is the definition of a nice character, always saying sorry for his wrongdoings. And that's the biggest reason why a lot of people hate this episode. So it's just Bendy's cool behavior towards the other friends. And a lot of these scenes get really agitated. It's like whenever Blue comes into a scene, Bendy does something bad, Blue will stupidly get himself involved by grabbing the object or going where Bendy is, and he gets blamed by Frankie and Mr. Harriman. Blue could have easily avoided this if he if he actually went and tell Mr. Harriman and Frankie about this. Or if Frankie and Mr. Harriman was walking in to where Bendy was writing Blue on the wall, and then Blue would see Bendy get in trouble. Why didn't they add that? And of course we have a pointless scene where they try to frame Bendy by breaking the window. They tried to not frame Bendy, but tried to videotape him doing bad stuff, and yet Bendy breaks the window real quick before they can even snap the video. That scene had no purpose in the episode. It could have been just removed entirely. Then Bendy insults Mr. Harriman and Frankie on the intercom, and Blue just goes and see what's up, tells Frankie and Mr. Harriman to come to the office, and Bendy's gone. Apparently, he was cleaning the toilets. Right. So then, Blue gets punished, and it turns out Bendy was cleaning the toilet with Blue's toothbrush. Also, why is Bendy being cruel to people he hasn't met? It's not like they've done anything to him. Right, so Blue gets the idea to frame Bendy. I keep calling him Blendy. I don't know why. So Bendy ends up destroying the house, flooding the house, and we're actually about to see Bendy get punished. Up until the scene where Blue admits that he did all this, and he gets in trouble for flooding the house. And then the episode ends with Mac coming to Foster's and asking Blue what he's done. Now here's the thing. The reason why I didn't list Mac as unlikable is because Mac wasn't throughout the entire episode. In fact, he only appeared at the end. And I wasn't even bothered by Mac's appearance. In fact, I honestly wish he was in the episode, because I don't know, he would have knocked some sense into Mr. Harriman and Frankie, and actually defend the other friends, because if he was there, he would have known Bendy was behind this. Why didn't you include Mac in this episode? I mean, you did, but just a cameo. And that is everyone else's Bendy. So, yeah, this episode's bad. Hell, even the people behind this, especially Lauren Foster, the writer of this episode, hated this episode, and she said that it was her biggest regret. Yeah, you know when an episode's so bad that not even you like it. And because of that, Bendy never appeared in the show again after the backlash of this episode. Now, everyone knows this Bendy, it's a terrible episode. It's one of the worst episodes of Foster's. But here's the reason why I don't think it's the worst episode of Foster's. I mean, this plot has been done in other cartoons, like Anna and Eddie with If It Smells Like a Net. And while I would, and honestly, if it feels like everyone knows Bendy is better than If It Smells Like a Net. I'll explain why that episode was better, because when I make a review on If It Smells Like a Net. So yeah, everyone knows Bendy is nowhere near as bad as If It Smells Like an Ed, but it's definitely one of the worst episodes of Foster's. But like I said, we've seen this in other cartoons, and it's more infuriating there than here. It's not that you should not. It's not like you shouldn't get infuriated in this episode. I mean, by how they made the episode, yeah, it's reasonable for you to get mad at it. But like I said, there are other cartoons out there that probably did even worse. Foster's isn't the only show that has done stuff like this. I mean, like I said, look at Ed and Eddie with If It Smells Like an Ed. That episode was something, and it's something bad. In fact, that episode was really terrible. But yeah, everyone knows Bendy is one of the worst episodes of Foster's, and while I will say this episode is better than If It Smells Like a Net, it still doesn't excuse it for being one of the worst episodes of the entire show. Well, guys, that's my review for Everyone Knows Bendy. Really need to get that off my chest. So, anyways, thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll be sure to make more Ron animations. And go check out my review on the Todd and Hour of the Loud House. It's a good one.